Imagine a world where there's no boundaries, where people are not defined by the color of their skin or language or ability and disability, but rather as a human being with inherent right and dignity. Nelson Mandela once said that education is the most powerful weapon that we can use to change the world. We have gone this far and still fighting for the rights of every child for an equitable and quality education. I think what we need is an inclusive approach in education. The Universal Declaration on Human Rights and the Convention on the Rights of the Child affirm the core principle of the universality and non-discrimination in the enjoyment of the right to education. Booth and Ansco, in their Index of Inclusion, define inclusion as a process where there is an increase in participation of students and reducing those obstacles and barriers through the modification of the curriculum, of the culture, and the approaches to learning. I am an educator for 13 years. I have seen a lot of our students, of my students, struggling. Not all children are gifted. Not all children are privileged. And as teachers, we need to seek how we can improve, how can we help, how we can support them. In doing the analysis, it's not just about the knowledge part, but moreover in the emotion, as a person, as a teacher. There has been a lot of effort for inclusive education. The United Nations, UNESCO, UNICEF, and different organizations around the world are fighting for every single rights and fighting for every single child in this world. There has been a lot of potential. There has been a lot of improvement in our approaches. But still, looking at the data, we still need to work hard towards improvement of not just the education itself, but our mindsets. Inclusion is not just about the child with disability, but rather the whole children in the classroom, with ability or with disability and without disability. It's about responding to their needs and responding to the diversity of our learners. It's about parents acknowledging that they have the biggest part as well in making a mind shift or paradigm shift, and also involving policymakers, school administrators, the national government, the local government, in reaffirming these rights to education. There are still schools in armed conflict countries, in poverty-stricken communities, who doesn't even have an access to a classroom, doesn't have even an access to textbooks, or even a pencil or a pen or a paper for every child. If you see the quality of education in a lot of countries, we are still far behind. But there is still a lot of opportunity for us to be awakened, to work towards an action for a right-based and child-centered-based approach to education. Education should be a means for every person, for every child, to maximize their potential, to see themselves as a normal person, as a people or a person with dignity and ability to make a contribution to the society. Sometimes I see myself as a teacher as an advocate, sometimes probably teachers can feel afraid or confused. How can I deal with this child? Having 20 or 30 or 100 students in the class is not easy. But when you look at yourself again and ask yourself, why am I here? Am I just here for a job or am I here to make a difference? I'm calling for an awakening towards an inclusive approach in education. It will never be an easy process. According to Booth and Einsko, it's an unending process. We are part of the unending process. We are part of this call for action. There must be a lot of people out there seeking for opportunity to be part of mainstream education, but yet schools are not giving them a chance. Until we put our mind aside and put our heart and mind at the front, then inclusiveness will just be a dream. Inclusive education is what I believe a powerful weapon, not just to change the world, but to make the world a better place for all of us and for all the children around the world who are the hope of our generation and hope of the humanity.